I've changed my mind can mean a number of things. It means you no longer want to do it, or you no longer want to do it that way, to that person, with that person at that time. There is a lot of challenges and dilemmas that surround you going back on your word. Something that makes you step back and think, actually, I'm going to reverse that decision. I'm going to decline that initial offer. I'm going to say no to my previous yes. I'm going to contradict myself, so to say. That can be very challenging to the point where some of us just go with it because of that initial promise or intention. And this can cover absolutely every reference point of your life, whether these are decisions made to yourself or just mental decisions that you go back on. But sometimes we verbalize them or even put them into contracts that we pull out of because we had time to think it through. We had a deeper look and reflection at that thing because the anxiety grows around what we anticipate as outcome for whatever reason. You make new decisions. And that can be traumatic for a lot of us because to some extent it's a character defining decision when you go back on your word. Sometimes people hang on those things and let them define their view of you because you suddenly become unreliable, however rational that decision is. And that's very scary. And it takes a very strong determination and character evaluation to stand on those values. And that's what I want to talk to you today about. My name is Aso, and I make mindset healing and empowerment videos. I use my knowledge as a social worker, my expertise as a parent, and just my own individual journey. And today I want to empower me and hopefully empower yourself to take that challenge to change every so often. It's okay to change your mind as long as those new decisions reflect the new circumstances that you're surrounded with, your new ability, your new motivation, the willingness to do what it takes now, as opposed to what was intended, what was promised, or what was hoped. But how? It's easier said than done, right? How do I change my mind in terms of thought, decision, and actually embedded mindset and characteristics? Because there's different layers to that change. Changing your mind can be a statement to say, I don't want to do this anymore, if only mentally. And that initiates a new desire within you that pulls you away from that old desire, that old anticipated outcome. And that's the first step towards change. What you say to yourself, what you promise yourself, what you demand of yourself, what you clarify to yourself. Who are you and what do you want in that situation? When that much is clear, those are the first seeds of change that you're sowing on yourself. I do not want this anymore, or most importantly, I want this very much. That is your first point of change, identification of where you are, who you are, what you want, and who it is that's going to implement that change in your life. That is that internal commitment to self, that internal drive of self. The second point of change is looking at those around you. You are influenced, if only by observation of what is possible, by seeing what those around you can achieve. We gain validation, life lessons, support, and conscious and unconscious knowledge from the groups and communities that surround us on a daily basis. And learning from them consistently starts to build those skills within you, but it also starts to push you and motivate you to move in certain directions with that influence of those people around you. Some children can grow up from polygamous homes and decide that they don't ever want to experience this. That experience alone sets you apart either positively or negatively in relation to, I'm going to also be a polygamist like my parents, or I'm going to vow to never practice polygamy because of the struggles that I had growing up as a child. We learn from our environments, and sometimes you don't even understand in your own decisions that those have been unconsciously structured by your own environment and your own upbringing. What is possible within this community is influential to everyone else. What I see my parents accomplishing moves me positively or negatively. Growing up in a home where substance misuse or alcohol misuse is a challenge will impact you in one way or the other, in the way you see relationships, in the way you see alcohol, in the way you see certain characteristics that are exhibited by those people who influenced you meaningfully. And sometimes that structures us without us recognizing that this behavior and aversion to this thing or that thing is my own way of coping, my own resolution to ensure that I never experience those things or that I never put anyone through those things that I have experienced. So you grow by influencing the individual characteristics. You grow by changing that person and changing the mind of that person, or you grow by changing the group mentality that surrounds you, by influencing you through positioning you into other kinds of groups. And finally, we learn by assuming positions of power. That's what growth means. It means acknowledging that you're down here, but you want to be up there. So, in other ways, we seek power, we gravitate towards power. And power can mean ability. It can mean step 5 as opposed to 1. Or it can actually mean being influenced by those who control us or who control their lives enough to make us want to become them or become similar to them. Power is influential, not only to those who have it, but to those who observe it. And that influence can either move you positively or move you negatively by sinking you into submission to that power or elevating you towards it as you yearn and hunger for it. But however you look at it, power is influential. It's influential because we admire those who have it, whether it's emotional control or financial control, or just the way people accept themselves wholeheartedly without letting their limitations rule them. That is powerful and that is meaningful if we also seek growth in our lives. Then we gravitate towards those who have it all or seem to have it all. Change is difficult, but it's also possible. And it starts from you saying to yourself that I have changed my mind about that education, about how I connected with people, about that employment, and I want a different role or a different employment. I have changed my mind about those associations and the impact that those are having on me. I am willing to change my mind about that thing. I want to get more power, and that is a good thing. Because sometimes we shy away from power. We think it means you're hungry, it means you're minimizing this, it means you're dismissing this, but you cannot grow without gaining more power because every new step that you seek is a higher ground that you seek. So, power is one of those steps that you need to embrace to be able to grow and enhance your life. And that power has to be coming from you, but also those that you seek to lean on. Recognize the power of your own social environment, but most importantly, acknowledge your own power and use it, starting with changing your mind on who you are and what you want to become.